across the Danube River. And that's where they come down out of the hills there, four abreast, with their hands behind their head, surrendering. And boy, we was happy about it. I mean, that's the day the war ended.
What, were they surrendering before the war had ended?
Well, yeah, because the armistice wasn't signed. It was signed in what they called a little red schoolhouse in France. I can't think of the name of the town now, but I used to, after the war was over, I was a truck driver and I used to haul wax up there and pick them up at noon and take them back and take them, back and forth. And that's where the armistice was signed.
When these Germans came out and they were surrendering, what condition were they in?
Well, they didn't look any worse than we did. Let's put it that way.
Did you get to know any of them?
Oh, no. They took them and they went right on, and they had the MPs there, and they took them on wherever they went. The only time I ever seen after that, after the war was over, they made a trucking outfit out of us, and I delivered prisoners of war, the Germans, back to, like, if they'd lived in Ackley or Hampton or, I'd take them back at the post office, in front of the post office in Iowa Falls, and then they could find their way home from there. That's what I did.
And what was your feelings when the war in Germany was over?
Well, I was as happy as heck. But I tell you what, when I was delivering those prisoners, there was one guy. Now, I didn't hold nothing against the regular German soldiers. It was the SS that them officers and their SS troops. And I had one that wanted to ride in my truck, or I was supposed to take him back too. And he was all dressed up in his fancy stuff, and he was trying to tell the guys on the truck where they would do. So I made him stand up all the way. I let the guy sit down on the and let him stand up there. And I thought, you're not the boss anymore, I am.
Now, how did you hear the news that the war was over?
How did I hear? Oh, goodness gracious. I have no idea. It just floated down the line, I guess. I don't know. I don't remember. I just know everybody said, hey, the war's over. They surrendered. Okay, and I could see them coming out of the hill, so I believed it. Okay. I sure wasn't going to disagree with anybody. I remember it was raining. And a lot of the guys that were supposed to relieve me was down there getting intoxicated, and they forgot to relieve me and this other guy. And there we was on that machine gun. And finally somebody come up and relieved us. But I was pretty ticked off by that time.
Now, how long were you over there after they had surrendered?
Let's see, when it got over in May, and I didn't get out of there till December.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was hauling, because I was slated to go to Japan, because I didn't have enough points to go home, see, because I wasn't married, and you got points, back then, for how long you've been in, or whether you was married or not, if you had dependents. And I didn't have nobody, so I didn't have many points.
So you were just a single young guy over in Europe.
Yep, and I was going to have to go to Japan. Oh my, I didn't want to go to Japan. So when they dropped that bomb on Hiroshima, I was just happier than heck.
Did they talk about dropping a bomb that was going to end the war? It was after they had dropped the bomb.
Oh yeah, we didn't know anything about it. No. We didn't know anything about that bomb until after it was dropped. Yeah.
And did my father once said that he couldn't believe that one bomb could end the war because we didn't have a plane big enough to carry it.
Yeah, we did. It wasn't that, it was a high explosive bomb.
Now, it says in this book that you had some jet planes. First time you saw that?
we'd heard of a jet plane, but we'd never seen one, and we were supposed to be guarding this railroad yard, and all of a sudden, whoosh, you know what a jet sounds like
Yes.
now. Well, we didn't know what a jet sounded like, and it was here, dropped the bomb, and running out of our sight before we seen him. We shot at him, but we was 5 miles behind him, you know, and that was our first. That was a 262, little shorts. Now they all carried one bomb, is all it could carry. And but he grew, and we thought, what in the world is that? You know, so fast. I mean, you know, that's the first jet we ever seen.
Now, when you were in the war, is there something that you really missed about America that you didn't have when you were in the war?
That I missed?
Yeah, a food, an item that you said, when I get back to the United States, this is what I'm going to do.
When I was here, I come home on furlough just before I went overseas. They gave me a 13-day furlough. And you remember, you don't probably remember where the dairy, what is it? Perfection Dairy used to be where Beeman's.
Yes.
Okay, where it's, that's where Perfection Dairy used to be. And what's his name? What was his name? Used to be the old mayor. He's dead now. He used to run this funeral home. Anderson. He run that. And I was in there, and Bob Reed, I don't know whether you remember Bob Reed or not. Him and I was in the same outfit. Lorraine Reed's husband. Him and I was in the same outfit. But anyway, we was in there, and we had a malted milk. And you get big malted milks. And I couldn't drink it all. And I left it. And I remembered that malted milk, I don't know how many times when I was overseas. I never had ice cream or malted milk, you know. And Jesus, I don't know why I left that. I always thought, man, I wished I had that malted milk. And I can just remember that thing, just seeing that chocolate malted milk sitting there that I'd left. Yep, that's what I missed.
Now, the war is over, and you're moving prisoners around, or releasing prisoners around Germany to take them home.
Mm-hmm.
When did you get your orders that you were going to come home?
Not until, well, we knew we was going down and meet the boat in December. Because prior to that, I had been picking up soldiers from camps, taking them to the train. So I knew how the deal was. But we didn't know until they said, okay, you're getting on the train tomorrow or something, and so then we went on the train. But I see on these little French trains, and they got, you know how the booths are in the Princess? How they're just like this?
Yeah.
That's the way the seats are at a French train. So I picked up a piece of plywood so long, and the guy said, what are you going to do with that? It was about that wide, you know. I said, we'll play cards on it. Oh, great idea. Well, actually, that wasn't what I wanted it for. I was planning on sleeping on that. I put it across the top up there. These guys all had to set up, you know, and sleep. I had a board up there to lay on. They all trying to buy my board from me. Because I'd hauled so many guys to the train, see, and I'd seen what they had put on there, and I'd looked them over. And I knew, and that was northern France where I was at. We had to take that train clear to southern France. And oh, that was the coldest place in the world up there. Sleeping on that. They had tents that was off the ground about that high. They had one stove for that whole big tent. We didn't have no coal. They had a little coal, but not much. And boy, we was burning everything we could get because they took all our blankets. They left us with one blanket. And it was cold. That was in Marseille, France.
Now, they loaded, so when you were coming home, where did you
That's where I shipped out of. Marseille, France.
Back to?
Well, they put us on a little victory boat, and it took us New Year's and Christmas before we got home. I spent New Year's and Christmas going up and down. It didn't go straight ahead very good. It was all rough. See, they wouldn't allow us up on deck. It was so rough.
Now, Christmas Eve, what would you guys do? Did you do anything special or?
No, because it was another place of survival. Can you imagine, in the hull of a ship, you're not up on top. You can't go up on top. You can't get no fresh air. And how many sick guys there are down there? Think of that.
Okay.
And they're off, and it isn't getting cleaned up very well. And that smell will kill you. Oh God! And see, I haven't got a weak stomach, and that up and down motion of that boat didn't bother me. But boy, smelling that all that time, because it's 13 days it took us to come home, and so 13 days we spent in the hull of that ship. Well, just about, not 13, because down the Mediterranean till you got to Gibraltar, it was good on the Mediterranean. It was nice, smooth sailing, and we'd go up on top. But after that, you was out on that Atlantic, and man, it was rough.
So then you came back to New York?
No, I landed at Hampton Roads, Virginia.
So you went to Virginia, and then now were you out of the service at this point?
No, not till then they went by train from there to Campground, Illinois. Campground, Illinois, I got my discharge at midnight. And I caught the train the next morning to Iowa Falls.
And what was that like when you finally got home?
Oh man, that was nice. It was in January, cold. Barracks bag over my shoulder. And I knew Reed, he got discharged too, but he got discharged in a different place. We all didn't come home together. And so I went over on Henderson, and that's where his folks lived, and he got home. So him and his brother, he had a car, and they took me to Hubbard. So that was the extent of my travel.
A passage from the diary of the 546th, dated May 19th, 1945. This day we formed into our 1st Battalion convoy since we landed in Normandy. We withdrew from Austria, set up a camp about half a mile north of Wiesburg, Germany. We placed our outdoor chapel in the pines, wherein our battalion chaplain conducted a Thanksgiving service commemorating the end of the European War. Marvin Goodnight, an American soldier.